How's everybody doing? This is Dwayne Fletcher with Fletcher Community Media. Um, it's been a while since I've done some podcasting, and uh, I write books as a hobby. Sometimes I'm trying to make it a professional thing, but it's been a while since I've done any podcasting, and that's because I had to go pay the bills. Um, I keep a regular job. I keep a regular job, until I, get famous or something like that, or start to sell enough books that I can support myself without having to keep a regular job. And So I had to go dog for a while. I had to go dog for a while, but I'm back. And check this out. This is some of my old stuff. This is some of my old books right here. Fox Hunt by Dwayne Fletcher. They had some allegedly, because the trial is not over yet. They had some politicians and people and some other prominent figures here in charge of the power company that basically tried to do like a little oligarch move and sell the power company and put all the money in their pocket, but it's not theirs as a public utility. They're still on trial right now. Hopefully, I'm hoping that the FBI will dig through the company even deeper because it seems to be that there's some more bad guys inside the company. There's like weird stuff happening every time. The feds make an announcement. There's like weird stuff going on where the lights turn on and off when the certain news stories come on about it and things like that. And then they raise the rates every time there's a federal announcement about the Fed case. Uh, they raise the people's rates like they're trying to make the customers overtalk the feds with complaints and stuff like that. So, but check it out. Fox Hunt, this is on blurb.com. There's another good one right here that I wrote. It's called Lion Fishing. Get a good angle here. There we go. Lionfish by Dwayne Fletcher. Lionfish by Dwayne Fletcher. This is a really good one. Uh, this one talks about a Chinese spider they caught on the military base here. Um, and this is also a pretty good book. Also, it is. Jacksonville has a lot of faults, and there's a lot of different things going on. And matter of fact, I got a bunch of brand new books out. So here we go, right here. Let's start with this one, The Nibble Next. This one talks about a couple of Russian hitmen that came to town, and it's a really good book. Based on some true events that had to do with unfortunate young man, God bless the dead, Mr. Dwayne Martin, that was chopped up by the Russian mafia. And I just happened to meet his brother at McDonald's down the street from here, and he told me the story about what was going on, and we talked for a little while. And This is a pretty good book also. It's called The Nibble Next. This one right here is called The Battle of Fletcher. The Battle of Fletcher. This one also by Dwayne Fletcher. The Battle of Fletcher. This one talks about uh, the Napoleonic battle plans, Napoleon's battle plans, and Napoleon's campaign against Russia. Napoleon's campaign against Russia about 200 years ago. Okay. Um, in contrast to things that are going on today in Ukraine and the rest of the threats that are being leveled against the other Baltic states, Finland, Poland, Germany, uh, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, they've all been told that they're going to be next by the Russians. So this one talks about the fights that went on over there. This is also a pretty good book. Um, Now, if you get a chance to check out the Napoleon movie, I watched the Napoleon movie also, that just came out recently. That's a pretty good movie. Um, and this one right here, the one that's causing all the controversy. This is the one that's causing all the controversy right here. This one is called The Black Hand. Now, the Black Hand talks about a fictitious character who is a tennis player, and that he also doubles as this tennis player also doubles as a hitman for the KGB, for the Russian mafia and the KGB. So basically, this is like a pretty good book also. And this one's causing a lot of controversy. I had to recently speak at the city council meetings downtown Jacksonville to talk about this because there's some other incidences that I would like to talk about that I didn't get enough. When you go to the city council meeting, they should give you at least 5 minutes to address an issue. However, they don't want to be there all night. So they give you 3 minutes to address an issue. And if there's a flood of people that come in there, you get even less time than that. So now, as it is, that you get 1 minute to talk. So you get 1 minute to talk. Okay, so which is really unfair, and I don't know how they address any issues like that. I think that the people that come down there complain, they need to complain about that stuff. Because I hear stuff about Congress and them going till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. Congress, the Senate and Congress, both in Washington, and our little rinky-dink little city council people, they want to be out of there by 10:30, and we have to be out of here by 10:30. So we only gonna give you a minute to speak about the issues and stuff like that. So I only had a minute to talk about this. So I'm making a podcast so I can talk about the rest of the things that I want to talk. 'Cause that's absurd that they have limited our time to talk down there at these city council meetings about this. Well, basically, what I want to talk about is that I work for a defense contractor, and I know you've heard me say this before, and it looks like some of this information that I was researching was spirited away, and it was uh given to the character that, like I said, this is based on a real life character, and I the villain character in here was based on a character that was a real tennis player, and it looks like somebody called this person behind my back and started telling him stuff like to watch out for me, and there was a book coming out and stuff like that. I haven't found the person yet because basically it looks like what they did was they brought in all kind of surveillance equipment. They brought in surveillance personnel to monitor me and follow me around because I wrote this book, as if this book was going to start World War III. And it turns out the events that they were doing is something that would start a war, not the book. Okay, this ridiculous that they was stalking me around and harassing me and stuff like that. And but let's see. The thing is that uh the governor went over Homeland Security head and they let this person in, and him and his fans flocked to New York. And they had this thing about they repealed the vaccine thing, and they was letting anybody and everybody in, and then but everybody got sick. Everybody at the New York Open got sick. Look it up for yourself. I've given notations about it before. Everybody got sick, and then it also appeared that there was some type of cascade effect where everybody at the NATO meeting got sick also. Okay, a bunch of people at the NATO meetings got sick also. And the thing is, like I said, it happened because there was some law enforcement official, probably like some security. I don't know. I'm not saying who it is, but some security guard or some security guard at the bus station, some security guard at the library. I don't know who it is. Some police officer, some fireman. It could have been anybody. I don't know who it is. I'm just saying. I'm not making any accusations. But there'll be a lawsuit when I find out who it is. But they what they did was they hung around and lied on me so that these people could put me under surveillance. Okay, they hung around it, and there's some of them still hanging around now, and they lied on me. And then the first thing they say that, well, I'm white. I'm white. Well, then he got some white people working for him. Okay, I'm white. I wouldn't do anything like that. You know, just because a person is white does not mean that they would not do anything like that, because that's what it is. And that's what I'm getting from these people on the street now. Well, I'm white. He's white. He wouldn't do anything like that. That doesn't mean anything, obviously, because it must mean that he's got some white people working for them doing surveillance for Russia and Serbia and stuff like that. And that's just the bottom line with it. Okay. Um, I'll give you a good example. There's been a lot of talk about leaks coming from Germany right now. There's been, so there's obviously, either either that Germany's on the verge of being accused of spying for Russia or something like that. There's been so many different things that happened in Germany just in the last week. Okay, they almost shot down an American drone and said, "Oops," they just happened to miss it. Um, they and the Russians just did. Who else just did that? The Russians just did that also in the Red Sea. Um, there was uh something about a phone call from Singapore. The German military people were on the phone in Singapore talking about missiles that they were going to send to Ukraine, and that got leaked out. And then there was also this thing about the German prime minister or somebody saying that saying that he was going to saying that there was something about the German prime minister saying that there was British troops already on the ground in Ukraine, and things like that. There's stuff like that that's leaking out that's coming from Germany. So Germany is white people, okay, and the Russians obviously hate them, else they wouldn't have went to war. And the Russians occupied Germany after World War II, which probably made them hate each other even more. However, you're still going to, after 80 years, there's been obviously been some type of relationship or rapport established between them that they talk back and forth like that. Okay, but this was what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the problem is right now. The problem is that it's a bunch of people that's leaking stuff out, and they let these people follow me around, hang around, lie on me and stuff like that, so that they could keep a surveillance tab on me. And I would like it to stop, and that's why I'm talking about it now. I probably need to go visit Homeland Security again, since they were the ones that told him not to let the guy and his fans in anyway to New York, and everybody got sick at the tennis match, and everybody got sick at the NATO meetings and stuff like that. So just because it's a white person does not mean that they are incapable of doing wrong or harm. Um, and the thing is that even if you are white, I'm white, I wouldn't do that. Even if this is if it's a white person, it's still a FARA violation, okay? Foreign Agents Registry Act, FARA, FARA, Foreign Agents Registry Act, okay? Even if you are white, it's a Foreign Agents Registry Act, meaning that foreign agents, agents from overseas, KGB, Serbian intelligence, whatever it is, you're supposed to register yourself before you come to another country. And that's what keeps them from handing out bribes and things like that, and trying to secretly get your politicians and your law enforcement people to do their bidding, or get your politicians and law enforcement people to look the other way while they stalk Dwayne Fletcher around, or while they plot against our president and just pretend like they're following the black guy. Oh, we weren't plotting on the president, we were just following that black guy around. That's basically what goes on. What was the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The 800-pound gorilla in the room is that basically that it appeared to me that they was plotting on the president and then lying and saying that they was just following some black guy around. Okay? So it's a FARA violation. FARA, FARA, Foreign Agents Registry Act. And even if the guy ran off and you're still here harassing me, it's still a FARA violation, because part of the law against this type of stuff has to do with them handing out bribes and monetary rewards and bribes for you to do their bidding and stalk people around and stuff like that. Okay? So it's still a FARA violation, even if you're white. Okay? So stop hiding behind that. It's ridiculous. Okay? Now, um, and now what I want to say is that, and that I did not get to say last night, is that I want to invite NATO, NATO, and maybe certain members of NATO, maybe the let's see, the United Nations, members of the United Nations and members of NATO to come to Jacksonville, Florida, so that they can investigate some of the stuff that I wrote, okay? So that they can investigate some of the stuff. And the reason why I say that is because the people that are down here will lie to you really, really badly. Okay? Now, I something else I uncovered. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Something else I just figured out. Okay, if you come to investigate anything in Jacksonville, and I'm talking about whether you're with NATO, whether you're with Homeland Security, whether you're with the FBI, whether you with any one of these law enforcement or United Nations, whether you're with United Nations or whether you're with NATO, do not listen to JSO or FDLE. Okay? Do not listen to JSO or the FDLE. Don't listen to them, okay? The reason why I say this because the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, which is JSO, and the FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, are dirty. That's why we have so many problems. Don't listen to JSO or FDLE because they have Chinese spies running around their military base. Now, I'm talking about stuff right here in Jacksonville. They got Chinese spies running around the military base. Okay, they've got Russian oligarchs hiding here in Jacksonville on the outskirts of town in Ponte Vedra. Okay, Russian oligarchs here that they refused to enforce the sanctions against him that all of these other countries in Europe and Australia and Canada done enforced against these people. Okay, now and not only that, but they've learned some moves from the Russian oligarchs that are hiding here in Jacksonville. That's why they tried to sell That's why they tried to sell J. That's why and how they tried to sell JEA. They tried to sell JEA because they've learned some moves from the Russian oligarchs hiding in Jacksonville. So I'm wondering what they're gonna hit us with next. They've already been talking about uh recycling sewage water to force people to drink all kind of weirdo stuff like that that's going on inside the company. I'm hoping the feds dig deeper. Um, But the thing is that don't listen to JSO FDLE. They got a sister city relationship with Russia. That President Zelensky of Ukraine, got on TV and talked about personally because apparently he's bumped heads with some of their bullshit that's going on here in Jacksonville. Also, him or maybe some of his other Ukrainian people that live here because we have Ukrainian people that live here. But maybe he must have bumped heads with them at some point, and President Zelensky got on TV and started talking about Murmansk, Russia, where Jacksonville has a sister city tie, and they tried to cover it up. They tried to cover it up. They hid the Russian flag. They got different flags of different sister cities. They got Korean, Chinese, Brazilian, South African, um, and then they got supposed to I think an Argentina flag, and it's supposed to be a Russian flag in it too, but they hid the Russian flag. Matter of fact, it was two Chinese flags there because we got sister city ties here in Jacksonville with two different Chinese cities, but the Russian flag they hid it. Okay, so there's like a bunch of cover up bullshit in real time going on right now that they refuse to enforce these sanctions against the Russian oligarchs hiding here in Florida because I think there's four here altogether, like three down south around Miami and one here in Jacksonville if I'm not mistaken. I looked this up a couple of different times, and the thing is that so they refuse to enforce any of these sanctions that the whole rest of the world is enforcing, and they got sister city ties over in Russia that they've been trying to cover up and stuff like that. And the thing is, like I'm saying, is that that's why you don't listen to them. Now, me personally, when they start talking about me, I want you to do something, okay? If you ever hear anybody, law enforcement people with FDLE or JSO or Homeland Security talking bad about Dwayne Fletcher, just ask them a few questions. Okay, Dwayne Fletcher, he wrote a new book. Okay, that's cool, but check this out. Have you caught have you caught the people that was trying to sell the fucking power company? Have you finished with that yet? You know, that Dwayne Fletcher guy, he wrote a new book. Okay, that's cool. But check this out. Have you caught the Chinese spies that are running around your military base yet? That Dwayne Fletcher guy, he wrote a new book. Anytime they start talking about me, they trying to fool you because and this is um just a smidgen of what's going on, okay? All right, and I realize that's what's going on around town where they try and get people against me, and they try to get people against me, and basically once they get people against me, they don't want people to talk to me, so they lie on me, they make up stuff. And I believe I heard somebody say this perfectly the other night. I was watching the Draymond Green podcast. I was watching the Draymond Green podcast, and he was talking to Isaiah Thomas from Detroit Pistons, from a long time ago, Detroit Pistons. Uh, not the new Isaiah Thomas. This is the old guy, the 62-year-old Isaiah Thomas. But Draymond Green, and he said it perfectly, exactly what I'm going through, and basically what it is. I'm gonna repeat it because this thing here is like really starting to work on my nerves. But you know what I'm saying? I will transcend it because we know what I do. I write it down. Whatever happens, I write it down. Okay. So, but they try to get people to talk bad about me. They try to get people to bash me. They try to hit me with the cancel culture. They don't want people to talk to me because they're trying to hide all of this shit that they're doing, that the rest of the free world is not a party to. You know, they're trying to hide the sister city ties with Russia. They're trying to hide the Russian oligarchs in Ponte Vedra on the outskirts of town. You know what I'm saying? They got Chinese spies running around the military base. You know, they're trying to hide. They don't want anybody to talk to me. And when you fall for that and you don't talk to me, you become you become disconnected to the information. Okay? You become disconnected. And once you're disconnected to this information, that's when that's what makes you vulnerable. That's when they get you. That's when they get you. That's what makes you vulnerable, not me. It doesn't make me vulnerable because you won't talk to me. It makes you vulnerable. That's when they get you. And that's what makes you vulnerable. When you become because you become disconnected to the real information, and you want to talk to this other guy with a similar topic, and you want to talk to this other person over here that does this over here, and instead of talking about the real stuff that's going on. And the thing is, like I was saying, you really need to pay attention, because if you don't, you know what I'm saying, you're only going to mess yourself. I'm paying attention, I'm alert, and I'm writing a bunch of this stuff down. And hopefully one day I can get enough followers, that way I can support myself and monetize this to a greater value, the way I can do it full time instead of having to go run off and work a regular job to pay my bills and stuff. And I'd like to write full time. Matter of fact, I'm backlogged. It's so much stuff going on that actually me, Dwayne Fletcher, Fletcher Community Media, is backlogged. I'm backlogged, and that basically there's a bunch of stuff that's going on and still happening that I still need to write about, but I can only do so much at a time, because every once in a while I gotta go run off and go work a regular job because I have to pay my bills. All right. So that being said, but that's what they do. They do not listen to. And like I said, I wanted to invite NATO. members of the NATO and the United Nations to come to Jacksonville to investigate some of this stuff themselves. Do not listen to JSO. Oh, we'll watch that guy for you. No, don't listen to them because they will lie to you. They will dress somebody up like me and follow that dude around and swear to God he's doing all kind of heinous activities, you know, and that's what they do. And not to mention the fact that it looks now like they got some Serbian Serbian kill team running alongside their investigation. You know, so and they got some Serbian guys running alongside their investigation and stuff. And I don't know how that works, but you know, I know it's illegal. That's illegal. You know, it's a FAR violation. Um, let's see. Don't listen to none of they security guards they got in Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to file a lawsuit right now against Allied Universal for the prankster wankster stuff that goes on at the library. And they keep turning the camera on and off. They turn the surveillance camera on and off. And then when something actually does happen and they catch it on camera, they won't let you see the video and all of this kind of crap like that. So don't listen to none of they surveillance people. They security guards they got here in Jacksonville. It's a unified front of bullshit, and that's who it supports. The Russian people that they got here in town. Um, they and then when they get caught lying, they try to hack your social media. When they get caught lying, they try to hack your social media and then play with you and say, "Oh my God, did you see what that guy tweeted the other day?" And like that's a reason that they need to follow you around and shit like that. That's what they do here. It's a bunch of bull crap. But don't listen to none of them. Not FD, definitely not FDLE, because apparently that's who covered up all a bunch of this stuff for the governor Ron DeSantis. Matter of fact, they saying that they found a body. They found a body in the governor's office. Have y'all heard about this? Have you heard about this? Let's see here. Election policeman dies in DeSantis office. Let's see. Death of election policeman in Florida. Death of election policeman in Florida. Hold on. There it is. There he is. That's a good picture right now. There it is right there. Pete Antonassi. Detective Pete Antonassi. He was listed as the governor's he was listed as the governor's election player. You know, somebody stole the election, man. Come on, man, let's get him. Somebody stole the election, man. Let's get him. Let's get him. And then see, I hate to say this, but if you was in the South and you seen Trump and them doing this stuff, you would probably want to put Trump in jail for doing it. Okay, basically, you know, hey man, somebody stole the election. Come on, man, let's get him. Let's get him. And it's all bullshit, dude, because they swear to God, they thought that somebody stole the election from them. They hired this guy right here. They hired this guy right here, Pete Antonassi. They hired this guy right here, Pete Antonassi, Detective Pete Antonassi, and he had a heart attack and died in DeSantis's office. Okay, apparently this was not a regular death. They had been arguing. Excuse me, I believe the story is quoted as saying they had a very heated argument, a very heated argument right before he died. They had a heated argument right before he died, and then they didn't call the ambulance till an hour later or something like that, which sounds like. And you know, some of the people that I know, they were making jokes about it. They was like, well, that guy's a Navy SEAL. DeSantis is an ex-Navy. Maybe he broke his neck, dropped him on the floor. Like the beginning to Hunt for Red October. And as a matter of fact, that's what my response was. I'm like, damn, that sounds like the beginning of Hunt for Red October when when he died. But they released the report about 6 months later after the death, and they said he had a heart attack. Him and DeSantis was arguing, and they said it was in a meeting, and 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 stuff. It's just really weird, dude. But you need to, check it out. Look it up for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourselves. And, but they hired the election policeman, and it looks like they killed him. You know. So I'm wondering, what did he find out? Oh my God, he found out that I think personally, and this was them that said it, but I think he found out that the Russians was the ones that stole the election, but they stole it from Hillary Clinton or something like that. They stole an election from Hillary Clinton. The Russians did. And then by the time it was time for Trump to run for election against Biden, everybody was up on game. Everybody was up on game and they was watching and pay attention. So then Trump lost to Biden, and then they stole it. Oh my God, man. They were down here in the South going, oh my God, man, somebody stole the election, man. Come on, man, let's get them, man. And this is a bunch of bullshit, and they all know what happened. And not only, and this is not just me saying that they know what happened. They killed the goddamn policeman that they hired to investigate it. They killed him. It looks like, allegedly. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying that happened. And it looks kind of suspicious to me as a conspiracy theorist. This is right up my alley. This is it's probably an action novel within itself right there. You know, so it looks like they killed the guy that they. Okay, you think somebody stole the election? Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, you hired a detective to investigate it, and you created a whole new office of election police just for this guy to investigate it. Okay. Um, what did he find out? Or if you ask me, that's what he found out. He found out that basically the Russians were involved in some of this stuff. Now, I'm going to tell you what my opinion of this is also, because this is an ongoing argument that a number of people have said at the city council meeting for years. 2016, since 2016, they've been arguing about this, okay? The election headquarters, um, they house voting machines. Okay, they house voting machines. They got all the different voting machines for Duval County, probably like Fernandina Beach, Jacksonville, which is Duval County, Fernandina Beach, Clay County next door. Um, let's see, and like so Jacksonville and surrounding county, they house all of those voting machines. Okay, now this is an old Sears and Roebuck warehouse that I'm talking about too, and it looks like there's several different businesses inside this place, not just the supervisor of elections. And it's been said that this supervisor of elections needs their own warehouse, because every time something bad happens, the first thing everybody think about, well, is somebody buying equipment. Oh my God, it must be somebody buying equipment. Oh my God. Well, you got Tom, Dick, and Harry that has a business inside this building, and the supervisor of elections needs their own. Bacardi was there for a while, one of the Bacardi distributors, and it appears to me, and I'm not saying that's what happened, but it appears to me that Bacardi didn't want a part of this argument no more, so they moved out the building. Well, that's what they were saying they was going to do. But it's other people still there, you know. It looks like some people was coming up here from Miami to support Trump, and they moved in the building too. That's another thing that appeared to be happening also. that there was businesses coming from Miami that supported Trump that moved in the building too. So and matter of fact, that's going on. There appears that that's what's going on now too, right here in Jacksonville right now. Um, but they need their own equipment. They need their own warehouse, and so they don't have Tom, Dick, and Harry in the building that will uh, throw all of this shade on our election process, and that's basically what it's doing. But the you think somebody stole the election? You hired a election policeman, and then the guy died in your office. And it's a bunch of stuff that they were saying that it was a bunch of stuff that they were saying that was happening. It's a bunch of stuff that they were saying that had happened, but it looked like um they killed that guy, man. Pete Antonacci, Detective Pete Antonacci. Look it up for yourself. Um, there was no autopsy, and they won't tell anybody who was at the meeting, and all of the lines in the notes are like redacted as if the CIA or somebody was there, which is probably some more bull crap or whatever. But they won't tell people who was all that was at the meeting. Um, and it's crazy. So, but they need to do better. They know they need to do better, but they don't. Okay. So I'm not the suspect. I see what keeps going on. I'm not the suspect in this. I'm the hero. And I figured out that somebody in law enforcement here in Florida, whether it was a security guard or whether it's a policeman or a firefighter or whoever it is, or a reporter or the weatherman. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody in law enforcement or something that keeps that's basically been trying to listen in on my notes and stuff, and then try and make me out to be the bad guy so that they can take the material and sell it for themselves. And that's why the fire is still raging, because it's like, if you a fireman, you swear to God the fire's out. Well, I'm a fireman. I swear to God that fire's out. But the fire's still raging on Flock Street. The fire's still raging across the street from my house on Edgewood. And it's a couple of different places these people have come to and set up shop. Okay. And I deal with this shit every day. They bump into me, they try to start arguments. They bump into me, they try to start fights. And it's got to do with the stuff that I wrote. You know what I'm saying? And then as soon as you accuse them of it, they go, well, I'm this person, I'm that person, which means nothing to me because I'm the author and this is my book. And the thing is that if you don't like it, don't buy it. Okay. Anything else is illegal. Any other activities, moving next door to me, all of that kind of crap like that, that's illegal. And they've done this kind of stuff before over different issues. Yeah, they've done this stuff before over different issues years ago. I won't go into that, but it's been a couple of different times that the police done held one of these dudes' hand while he stalked me around and harassed me. So they've done this a couple of times. It's been a this yeah, this is not my first rodeo. Okay. And so that's what I wanted to say. So, um and so, but apparently whoever the law enforcement person is that's involved, he 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 lets them lie and say that I should be investigated, when actually they're trying to hide something that they're doing against the government or the president, and they're smuggling something into America, or they're bringing in communist soldiers from Venezuela, or they're bringing in communist soldiers from Serbia. And but they swear to God well, they need to watch him because of this book that he wrote. No, they need to watch you because everybody in New York got sick. Yeah, that's why they need to watch you, because you the one that let them in. I don't have that kind of I didn't go over Homeland Security head. That was y'all. That was y'all down here. So you need to stop lying on me. Leave me alone, please. And let me go on about my business, because you just digging a hole for yourself like nobody saw you but this black dude. Like nobody saw you but this black dude. Yeah, you just digging a hole for yourself. Well, nobody knows what's going on. Yeah, you just digging a hole for yourself like nobody like well nobody saw me but him. No, I can just keep doing whatever I want to because he's black. No, it's a bunch of people saw you that ain't even wrote the book, read the book. Okay, so but you know, not at all of that said, I just felt like I need to get that out in the open, and I want to say I want to commend uh the people in France also because the president of France has recently said that y'all need to put boots on the ground in Russia. Okay. I mean, y'all need to put boots on the ground in Ukraine to push the Russians out. That's what I meant. Okay. Let me clarify that. NATO needs to get together, get a force together, put boots on the ground in Ukraine to push the Russians out. Okay. This is what, I guess this is what the British probably mad with the Germans about now because the Germans said, well, the British is already over there or something like that. Some kind of dry snitching that he just blurted out on the what's called. But it is what it is. So whether it's true or not, nobody knows. And how would you know you ain't been over there? And why would you tell the Russians something like that? That's kind of negligent as a member of NATO. That's kind of negligent to blurt something like that. So hopefully they can get together and come to some kind of agreement not to be telling each other business to the Russians like that, and talking on unsecure lines about all of this stuff that they supposed to be doing and stuff like that. And well, hopefully they'll get it together. I'm pretty sure they will. I have no doubt in my mind they'll get it together. But it's going to be some rough patches like that. But yeah, well, okay. So the president of France said that they need to put boots on the ground in uh, Ukraine to help push the Russians out. This is a great idea. Me personally, um, as a war buff, like I said, I'm really super duper into this stuff because I got a bunch of military people in my family, and this is only some of them. My mother was even in the Air Force. My mother was even in the Air Force, and all my uncles been in the Army. My grandfather was a military special investigator. I think when they first assigned that post here in Florida, um, and that's only a few pictures. I still got other uncles and my other uncle. I mean, I still got other uncles that was in the military that's not photographed there. But this stuff is I'm a war buff. I like stuff that's got to do with war. I research it. I watch the movies. I watch the documentaries. Especially when I went to work for the military. I worked as a medium combat consultant for a defense contractor, a defense subcontractor here in Jacksonville that we used to work on the F-18s, the fighter jets. Um, and the thing is that this stuff it's interesting to me, and I'm hoping that you guys can see some of the things. It's like for myself, it's like watching two people play chess. Watching two people play checkers, you can always see different moves that they can't see as an active player. As an active player, you can always see different moves that one person can make that they don't see. And me personally, it's my opinion that when you saw Russia buying back weapons from North Korea, that's when you should have jumped. You should have pounced on it. Because there's a bunch of rumors in the intelligence community that he had sold a bunch of his stuff off, but no one knew if it was true and no one knew to what extent it was. But if he's got to buy back weapons from North Korea, that means that he he sold off a bunch of his guns to North Korea a long time ago. He put the money in his pocket. That's why he's worth 75, $100 billion, whatever it is now. I think it's $150 billion now. He puts the money in his pocket. Okay. So but the mistake that NATO made and the mistake that NATO is still making is that when you saw Putin buying back guns from North Korea, that's when you should have pounced on him. Yeah, push him out of Ukraine. You don't have to chase him into Russia. That's the mistake that Hitler made, Operation Barbarossa. That's the mistake that Napoleon made, where when Napoleon took Moscow. But when he turned around to go back to France, that's when they got him. Yeah, when he was on his way back to France, that's when the Russians they started chasing him and whittling his forces down. Um, but you don't have to invade Russia. You just need to push him out of um of Ukraine. And the French president was the guy that said this. So and it looks like there's a lot of more and more people starting to get on board. Um, but what I want to bring up is that I seen something, again, like I was saying, uh, some of the Germans are getting gun shy, you know, and they was like, well, we don't need to do that. That's crazy. But you shouldn't take any options off the table, especially one like that makes you appear to have the upper hand because you do have the upper hand. Not? Why would you say that's absurd? You know, and the thing is that okay, this has happened. Something like this has happened before. Okay, let's look at Syria. Let's look at Syria. Let's look at Syria. Syria, Aleppo, Syria. Aleppo, Syria, to be specific. Aleppo, Syria was attacked by chemical weapons. Okay. Now apparently there had been some stockpiles of Russian weapons there in Aleppo, Syria. Okay. There have been some stockpiles of the Russian chemical weapons there, and the Russians were supposed to have destroyed it. Um, let's see. Aleppo, Syria. Let's see. Russia destroys chemical weapons in Syria. Let me see if I can find it here. I found a really good picture of I went to like the Wikipedia 2013. Yeah, here it is. Oh wow. Okay, 2013. This was in 2013. Okay, so in this picture, if you can look it up, there's John Kerry sitting across from Sergei Lavrov. John Kerry's our guy from America. Sergei Lavrov is the Russian prime minister or something like that. And this was in September 14th, 2013. I think it is. Yeah, September 14th, 2013. But look this one up if you get a chance to, because there's a really good picture of them together. And they was trying to hash out this thing about the Russians having so many chemical weapons in Syria. And they was afraid that terrorists would get a hold of it and things like that. So apparently they sent John Kerry to talk to Sergei Lavrov, and apparently the Russians lied to John Kerry. So they lied to him, and 5 minutes after they signed this deal, the Russians didn't destroy the stuff. It looks like they moved it to Iran. They moved the facility that was housing it and some of the equipment that they had. They moved it to Iran. That's what it looks like to me as a buff that basically the different stories that come up is like an algorithm if you know how to read it. Okay. Well, so they lied to John Kerry, and 5 minutes after John Kerry was on the plane back to Washington, they started building a new facility. And they started building a laboratory to make chemical weapons. Yeah, and I say this must have happened because 5 minutes later, a couple of years later, they used chemical weapons in Syria. And everybody said, well, damn, where did that come from? Aleppo, Syria was attacked. I think it was like 2018. Aleppo, Syria was attacked. Hold on, let me see. Let me get that date specific for you. Aleppo, Syria attacked by chemical weapons.
According to Wikipedia, the Khan al-Assal chemical attack was a chemical attack in Khan al-Assal, Aleppo, Syria on the 19th of March 2013, which according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights resulted in at least 26 fatalities including 16 government soldiers and 10 civilians, and more than 86 injuries.
Okay, so let's see. Aleppo, Syria attack 2018. 2018. So there was another attack in 2018. Let's see. Aleppo, Syria attacked by. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. April 28th, 2018. Here it is right here. Look it up. April 2018. Okay. United States, France, and the United Kingdom. United States, France, and the United Kingdom filed a resolution because apparently this stuff kept happening. Okay? So this kept happening. And the United Nations Security Council for Sovereign States wrote a resolution called Chapter 7 or something like that. Hold on. Let me look it up. Let's look it up. Make sure what happened. Background. Okay, there was a Syrian government offensive where they tried to retake some land in February 2018. Um, they claimed they had hashed out a deal, which was probably a bunch of crap, bunch of bull crap. 70 people were reported killed because of a suspected chemical attack. Okay, and this was in 2018. So apparently, after the John Kerry hashed out this deal with them, or they lied to John Kerry just to get rid of him or whatever, they somehow built another facility that needed to be destroyed. Okay, so the United States, France, and Britain wrote a Security Council resolution. I think it was called Chapter 7, where they basically decided to go around some of the other red tape and and write for an action to be done of action of force to be done to stop these chemical attacks. Okay, because they had already had their chance to talk to John Kerry and make a deal. You know, they had already had their chance to talk to John Kerry and make a deal, and years later they were still doing the chemical attacks. Okay, so the United States, Great Britain, and France, that's who set the resolution in order. They wrote it, they presented it to the United Nations Security Council, and it passed unanimously. That's what you need to write now. Okay? That's what you need to write now. As a matter of fact, I've been monitoring the news still, even though hadn't done any podcasting, but I've been monitoring the news still. And they were saying that there's reports coming out of like Bulgaria, Romania, or something like that, that said that there's a chatter of some other Russian invasions that might be going on. Now, whether it's Moldova or whether it's Poland or something like that, they don't know. But there's some other chatter going on about Russian invasion stuff. You can look all of this stuff up for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Okay? But in 2018, United States, France, and Great Britain got together and they wrote their own resolution called a Chapter 7 resolution. United Nations Security Council Resolution Chapter 7, which meant that they called for an action of force now that diplomacy was deemed untrustworthy. Diplomacy had been deemed untrustworthy because they had their chance to talk to John Kerry and make a deal, but they lied to him just to get rid of him. And then they went and did all of this. They must have built a facility or something because they're saying that that's what had to be destroyed. So let's look that part up. Military action. They violated the Chemical Weapons Convention, OPCW. Let's see. The OPCW had did a fact-finding mission. They found out that there was still stuff there. Let's see. Tomahawk cruise missiles from the Americans. Let's see what else. The what do they call it? The Tornado cruise missiles. And the Typhoon cruise missiles. And they used these to destroy a couple of facilities. These were they destroyed some facilities where they believed that the chemical weapons were being stored, were manufactured and stored. Okay, that's what you need to do now. You need to do some kind of United Nations resolution and write it. And I'm pretty sure somebody has to have thought about this, especially some of the Security Council members that are from the Baltics. Like Albania. Like I'm pretty sure the Albanian guys have thought, hey, the Russian guy, he ain't got no more guns, man. He's buying stuff back from North Korea. If you're gonna get him, this is the time to get him right now. Just push him out of North Korea, push him out of Ukraine. But that's what they need to do now. They need to write another United Nations Security Council Resolution Chapter 7. Okay? And in this thing, they can just say, well, we believe that diplomacy is has exhausted itself. Diplomacy has exhausted itself, and that they believe an action of force is needed to push Russians out of Ukraine. And once this happens, you're not going to hear from them again until maybe like 10 years from now after he catches his breath. Um, and I say this because if you let him do another Minsk agreement, if you let the Russians do a Minsk agreement, that's what's going to happen. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Minsk agreements, but that's what's going to happen. It'll be another Minsk agreement, and that's how what the Minsk agreement is going to look like. He's just going to sit down and lie, 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 and then as soon as NATO is out of the way, he's going to attack Ukraine again. So I would suggest that you don't let them do another Minsk agreement because that's how it's going to result. So instead of writing another Minsk agreement, allowing the Russians to dictate and narrate another Minsk agreement so he can catch his breath and attack Ukraine 5 minutes later after NATO's gone, you might as well do a United Nations Security Council Resolution Chapter 7 again, just like when Aleppo, Syria was attacked by chemical weapons by the Russians, and there needed to be a force of action uh, to destroy these chemical weapons, these Russian chemical weapons plants in Syria. So what you need to do is just push them out. Just do another resolution act, and I'm pretty sure they have to think of it. I just happened to run across it when I was doing some research. It's like somebody's had to override this one time before, some kind of way. So hopefully they'll get it together. But if you get a chance to check me out on blurb.com, BLURB, Dwayne Fletcher, blurb.com. The Black Hand by Dwayne Fletcher, blurb.com. For a limited time, you can preview some of the material for free because I have it unlocked. I have my account unlocked for the publishers that I've been trying to talk to. and the literary agents that I've been trying to talk to. So you can preview the Nibble Next for free. You can preview the Battle of Fletcher for free, and you can preview the Black Hand for free. Okay, Dwayne Fletcher, blurb.com. Thank y'all. Uh, have a nice day.